Good morning, good morning, good morning. I forgot to turn my light on. I know you guys probably giggle because every time you guys come to watch me live. Good morning, let me turn my light on really quickly. Good morning, good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's still morning here in Arizona. Sorry, I'm running over stuff I need. You guys see me get up underneath the clothes. Shh, don't tell anybody. Gert, how do I sound? Let me know, okay? Because I'm using this mic because my air is probably going to kick on at some point. But good morning, you guys. Welcome to Mad Scientist Monday. And it is truly going to be a Mad Scientist Monday today. Oh, man. I forgot one thing. Do me a favor, Gert. If anybody comes, just tell them I'll be right back, okay? Because I forgot my handout because I'm going to be talking about. Hey, Elizabeth. Oh, good. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Good morning. Hey, Miss Lisa, how are you doing? Hey, Lori. Hey, Lynn. Good morning. Good morning. Sorry about that, you guys, but I forgot my lesson for today. I have to have notes because if not, I won't stay. You guys know me. If I do not have like a map, I'll be driving all over the place. Um, and so I want to make sure I'm prepared for today. It's a little hot, so the air might come on. It is already, oh, my computer's not showing how hot it is. Hmm. It is already pretty warm this morning. It's already 95 degrees this morning. So it's warm. So if my AC comes on, I'm sorry. I can't turn it off. I'll be baking in here. Good morning, Cindy. Hey, Rosie. Oh, it's rainy. Well, we keep getting clouds in the evening, but they haven't really dropped any rain yet. Um, so let's get started, you guys. This morning, I'm trying to figure out where to start. Let me clean up a little bit here because I have some extra supplies I brought out today. So if you are new here, good morning. My name is Royce Hunt Bell. I'm the founder, owner, and operator of Roycycled Treasures, and we meet here every Monday morning for Mad Scientist Monday, where we come and experiment and play just to see what happens. And one of the things we do is we play a game. And I have a mixed media mashup game that we play, and I have to pull four sticks out of this can, and each one has a prompt of something that I have to do. So before we start with the game, though, I did want to cover another way for you guys to prep your pages. And I'm going to be honest and say I do not have as much knowledge around the products that we're going to be visiting today. But you will notice I have plenty of the product, which is a whole nother conversation altogether. And so I do plan to play with them a little bit more, but I still wanted to cover it because just because I don't know doesn't mean that you don't know. And so I just want to make sure to cover this because I'm going to tell you guys a story. Um, Years ago, I saw Liz from Athens Creative Studio, I think is the name of her business. And she did a live video on ILD TV, and she used pastel. And I loved the way that they looked. So I ran out and I bought me a whole thing of pastels. Now, needless to say, that was like I don't know, it was like 6 or 7 years ago. And I still have this entire set of pastels that I haven't used, but I'm going to use them. Part of my problem was when I used them on regular paper, they didn't really work really well, right? And so I was discouraged and I just thought, that maybe I was doing something wrong. I mean, they work. I can get them to write, but I wasn't getting what I thought I was going to get. And so I just kind of put these away. And I mean, y'all know how we do. I couldn't just buy a regular set of pastels. I had to buy this humongous set. It has multiple trays and multiple colors. Y'all know I'm just a mess. But so I have this big old thing of pastels here that I haven't been using because I didn't understand how to use them. And so when I talk about prepping your page, it really can make a difference, a huge difference in the experience that you have. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Vicky. The experience you have when you're creating. And since we're all experimenting in our journals, I wanted to make sure and go over this. So you guys will notice that this page is kind of cloudy right here. So you saw me put my pastel on this side. Let's use the exact same color. Now watch when I take the same pastel with the same amount of pressure and I put it on this page. You guys see that? There's a huge difference, right? And it's because one page has been prepared to maximize this product and one page has not. So today I want to talk to you guys. And why did I leave my pastel ground in the house? I'm fired. I'm gonna have to go in the house again, but we'll talk about it in the interim. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about prepping your pages in your journal is pastel ground. So pastel ground helps you create a really textured surface. It's almost like a 400 grit sandpaper. Like it's really, really gritty, right? And so when you put this pastel ground on there, what it does is it lays down this layer of grit so that your pastels will come off a lot easier. So instead of getting a mark like this, you get a really vibrant mark like this one. We're all messes in different areas, girl, for real. So the definition is it creates a toothy surface for pastels, charcoals, graphite to adhere, enabling you to layer and to make vibrant work. You can use it to prepare any surface, but we're of course talking specifically about the Roycycled Journal. It enables you to use actually any dry media. So I have some other dry media that we're going to play with today. And it can be mixed with fluid acrylics or inks to create a colored toothy surface. So I put it over a dark page. If I wanted to put this over a light page, I could add some acrylic inks or something and color it and then lay it down so that I would have a different color surface to be able to go over. So this is how we prepare our pages using a pastel ground. Let me go in the house and get said pastel ground because I forgot to bring it out. So I will be right back. I don't know what crepas are, Vicky. Maybe you know something I don't know. I'm gonna look that up. It may be. And I have several things. I have some pastels, and this is basically like the people who are artists are probably gonna wince when I say this, but I feel like this is like adult sidewalk chalk. Of course, it's highly pigmented and you get a lot more colors, but essentially, like that's what we're working with. So I have these pastels here. I also brought just some colored pencils because it's not just for pastels. It says pastel ground, but it really is a ground for like dry medium. So even a pencil, let me do this real quick and then I'll go get the pastel ground. And I'll use the white one since I'm working on dark pages. And so these are really nice colored pencils, right? So if I go over here, will it write on there? Yes, it will. Absolutely. You guys can see, right? It's writing on there. The page is a little shinier than I like it to be. But if I do it on this pastel ground, it really writes. And it's because this sandpaper is basically, scratching it off a lot more than a smooth surface will. So that's one thing. And then I also have some pan pastels here. And this is kind of like the pastels on the stick, but they're just in pans. And so it's like your makeup powder. Well, back in the day, your powder that you used to do to powder up your nose. Hey, Rachel. Yes, it does make it more vibrant, Rachel. So Rachel's asking if it makes it more vibrant. It does, just because the rough surface is scratching off more pigment. So your application is just going to be more dense, which is going to make it look more vibrant. And so this is a pan pastel, and it's literally like your grandma's makeup pack, right? But it has pigment in it. It's just like so this one is in a pan and the other one's in a stick, but it's essentially the same product. And if I use it on here on this smooth paper, does it go down? It does. But watch what happens when I use it over this, right? You're going to get a lot more denser application. And it's because this scratchy background here is just going to pick up more of this dry medium, and it's going to hold on to it a lot more than a smooth page. So do you have to prep it with a pastel ground if you're going to be using these products? You don't have to. You could use them just on a regular page. You could even use them on like a matte if you're covering it with like a clear gesso, right? Because that's going to give you a little bit of tooth, but the clear gesso is not going to have as much tooth as this page has. And I covered this page. You guys can see this is what the page looks like without the ground on it, and this is what it looks like with the ground. So it's kind of semi-transparent, but it's not completely transparent. But I do love the way that pastels look on black paper. So that's why I put a few black pages in our journal, because this is a product that I would like to explore more this year, because I have it, so I might as well learn how to use it, right? I'm going to run in the house really quick and get the pastel ground so we can apply it on this page together, and we'll dry it. And then I'll pull some sticks and we will get creating this morning. So if anybody comes on, you know what, Vic? No. So this is not an oil pastel. Those are oils, and so that's different. This is a drier medium. It's literally like sidewalk chalk. I'm not even kidding. But I mean, it's better than sidewalk chalk. But you know what I'm saying. I am going to pull this. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna look those up though. I have oil pastels, but you don't want to use an oil-based product in your book. It really isn't. I mean, you could, but you would have to really prep your pages to use oil-based products in here. So I would just use primarily water-based products in your book. And I'm not saying that you can't use it, but you would have to use like let's just say if I wanted to do some oil products in my pages, I would have to probably use like a GAC 100 and then use some heavy body gel and then let that cure. And then I could go in with oil paint or oil-based products. And then I'd have to leave my book open for a really long time, because oil-based products take a really long time to dry, which means I wouldn't be able to use it for a long time, right? So I'm not saying that you absolutely can't use oil-based product, but it's not optimum to use in your journal. I will be right back. I'm gonna go get the pastel. I mean the pastel ground. I am literally getting my steps in this morning, aren't I? I've been in the house 3 times since my video started. Good morning, Rajani. How are you this morning? Hey, Chris. Um, so this is the pastel ground. This is golden. This is just what I have on hand. And you guys will see the little box on there. It's a clear box, but it has a line through it. So I feel like if I see this, a product is going to be like really transparent, but not quite, because semi-transparent would have a half black and half white, right? But this one just kind of has a line through. Oh my gosh, this bright light. Okay. It kind of has a line through. So that lets you know that it's not going to be completely transparent. So you guys can see that you can see it so it doesn't disappear completely. And you guys notice how I'm able to just wipe that product off of the smooth page, but it's not going to wipe off as easily on this page. And I made this page to work on, and now I have all these color swatches in here. We'll see what happens. So I just want us to go ahead and apply the pastel ground together. And again, I am not like this is not something that I am professing to know a lot about, but it is something that I'm really curious to share. So if you guys have information, please share. Fine as a frog's hair. Oh no, Rajani, I had to go in the house for the third time this morning to get something. And so you guys can see like the consistency is kind of like pudding, but it has a lot of granules in there. So you're basically turning your page into sandpaper, a really fine sandpaper. Now, if you're working with pastels, there's a special paper that you can buy, and it's literally like sandpaper. But we don't want to, I mean, if you're working in your journal, you want to be able to use them in your journal. So we can put down a layer of the pastels on the page. And I'm going to mist this just a little bit so it can move a little bit more. I just want to be able to move it around a little bit more. Not a lot of water, just a little bit. And you can put as little or as much of this on your page as you want. So if you wanted to have a lot of, I would put down a layer and then let that dry. And then you can go in with a second layer. Okay. And I'm just going over it really fine with the tip of my brush to try to smooth out some of those brush marks. And that's it. Like it's just as easy to apply as any other medium that we've used, right? But it just changes the characteristics of your page so that you can use dry mediums on here and get like maximum impact. Let's dry this and then we will get to playing our game. Would you like to play a game? How many of you have gotten your Roycycled journals? And how many of you start playing in it yet? I'm just curious. And I saw a question on somebody else's post. The retailers are starting to get their inventory. And so a lot of them are posting about the journal. And one of the questions that I see is, can you do mixed media in this journal? And the answer is absolutely. These pages are 80-pound cardstock. So they're not like really, really heavy cardstock, but they're much heavier than regular paper. So you guys see that I'm piling on different products all the time, and my pages are able to handle it really well. And of course, over the last few weeks, we've been talking about prepping your pages so that you can be successful in whatever it is you have planned for your experiment for the day. Now, we've been playing the mixed media mashup game for a few weeks now, and I don't want to stop doing that. But next week, I would like to do something a little bit more intentional. So is it fun to use your journal to just go in and experiment and just see what happens? Absolutely. And I want to continue to doing this with you guys on Monday, because I'm hoping that watching me blunder through Hey, Angie. We'll encourage you guys. Good morning. Oh, Kathy, you got to do it. Just pick a page and make something before it gets too precious. Um, hopefully watching me will encourage you guys to do something and to try, right? Because none of us are born knowing anything. Well, maybe knowing how to eat, but you know what I'm saying. And so we have to um, kind of toddle around a little bit before we can learn how to walk, and then we can learn how to run. And so it always takes time and practice. And I'm talking to myself, y'all, because I'm going through it with my own art journey right now. Because I just want to be able to do this stuff. I don't and skip all of the reps and having to do all the paintings. But it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. I forgot to bring my little piece of I'm gonna reach over there and find me something. And so I want you guys to hear the pages because they're really thick. So they're not like thin pages. So yes, you can absolutely build on these pages. And so when we talk about these are pages that we've done together, right? This page was one of my more intentional pages. And my butterfly, his body is too long, but it's fine. I'm working on a painting and I still haven't painted the damn butterfly yet, you guys. I don't know what is wrong with me. And I think it has, we're interesting. Anyways, we'll have a conversation as we work. But I did this butterfly in my art journal first so that I would feel more confident like approaching my canvas, right? And so when you guys are working, if you have an idea of maybe it's a colors that you want to see together, maybe you want to layer specific products. Maybe you have an idea and you want to see if it's going to work on, your home decor product that you're working on, or even your furniture. You guys can do that in a journal, right? Where there's like no stakes, and then you can take care of the any issues that come up, you can address them. I'm looking for something to put on my page. Sorry, I'll use a piece of deli paper. And I just want to put this so my pages don't end up stuck together. But you can use this as a practice place, or this is your laboratory, right? Literally, our laboratory where we're like trying new things. Hey, Colleen, how are you? Oh, yeah, Rajani. We all have to practice. Um, oh, my goodness. So let's see what we're going to do today. So I have my pencils out, I have my pastels out, and I have my pan pastels. And then, I mean, I could go over this with, charcoal because this is a dry medium as well, right? And it's going to scratch off. Well, I've already done that page now. A lot better on here than it would on a smooth page. So that's what the pastel ground is for. I forgot to like do our like rumination for the day. I'm so fired. I'm sorry. My intention is to get those out to you guys every Sunday so that we have them on Monday morning. So I guess our rumination for today is we don't have to know all the things. Like I don't know everything there is to know about this about the sidewalk chalk. That's what I'm gonna call it for the rest of the day, by the way. But I do want to experiment and play with it because that's how I'm going to learn about it. So transparent paper for collage, physical texture under paper. I think that's done already, right? Just with my background. Um, I have to use decoupage scraps today. Ooh. And then I have to paint with bright colors. So um, I think we'll replace the paint with the chart with the pastels today, just so we can stay on like, but everything else, I have to use scraps, physical texture under the paper. I think that's done, and transparent paper. You know what? I may get to use my favorite paper today. Do I have a piece though? I kind of want to color one of my flowers. So if I can put this on my paper, Let me think for a second. Because I was going to stamp. I pulled out some white ink and a stamp. But it is calling for transparent paper. I could use that for a background though. I'll use transparent paper somewhere. We're going to use bright colors when we use our pen pastels. I already have texture underneath, and then we can use some scraps when we go in to make. Should I do this, you guys? Should this be my transparent paper? But I don't want this to be well, you know what? I'm going to do it. Let's do it. Let's dance. Put on your red shoes and dance the night away. I just went back to like 1984. Did you guys hear that? When you say run, I'll run with you. Okay, I am going to use the recycled paintable decoupage paper. And technically it is a scrap because I have used this piece before. And I am going to fussy cut out my favorite flower. Are you guys tired of seeing this flower yet? Because I love it so much. I know I use it a lot, but I like it a lot. And I chose one that's cut off, but that's fine. And I'm just like trimming it haphazardly. And I'm going to use the brush method and cut this out pretty close because I'm going to end up, I guess we can work on this side. So last night when I put this on, I put a heavier coat on. Today's coat is much thinner, and you guys can see how this page is not as white as this one. So that's something to think about. The more you put on, like the more you're going to be able to see it. I think this is actually going to be pretty cool. I'm going to cut this using the water method so that I can have nice organic edges. I wanted my line brush, but did I bring it back out here? I did. I love using these line brushes when I'm doing the water method because they're meant to hold a lot of water and they're small. So I have a lot of control. And then, of course, some people also use like the watercolor pens because they're full of water. And if you want to have like really detailed cut, then you'll want to use a really small brush and then kind of tear your paper as you go because otherwise it dries up. And I'm just drawing a line around and it weakens the paper exactly where that line is. So when I pull it, it tears right there where I drew the line. I can also do a tear out. I can just go in and like wet this whole piece right here and then just tear that out. And everybody has their favorites for how they do this. Ooh, you're redoing your bathroom? How fun. 1984 was a good year. It was. I don't know, Colleen. Facebook is just being weird nowadays. I don't ever know what to expect. Oh, wow. Everybody's doing home stuff. Nice. It's too hot here. I know, Colleen. Aren't you guys hot there for you to be sitting out on the deck? I'm sure you didn't anticipate it being this dark when you made plans to get this done. I mean, not dark, this hot. Hey, Drea, happy Monday. I need to call you. Can I call you later? Or are you at work today? This is one of the reasons I don't have patience for this method. Not with flowers. They're just, But yes, Chris, this is a scrap and I'm going to make it transparent. So two sticks in one. And I already have my transparent ground down. I'm like doing really good today. You guys notice I put my sticks back in my can. It was stressing me out. So I put them back in there. And the reason why I'm really doing this is because I'm going to be putting it on a dark background. Um, and so I kind of want to have as little white paper as possible showing. But I think I'm going to use the straight edge. Or am I going to do it on this side? I want to work on the left side, which you guys know I don't normally do. But we're going to make it work. So I'm going to do this on the left side. And then what else did I have to do? Decoupage scraps, physical under paper, print by, oh, I'm like good today. I can basically do whatever I want to do. So I want this paper to be super transparent. So I'm going to use a gloss medium. So I'm going to do a few things to make sure that this paper is as transparent as possible. I am going to mist my paper. And you know how sometimes when you're misting your paper, it'll still look like a little white. Oh, good. So at least you're not in the sun. Um, you want to mist until your paper looks transparent. So you don't want to have any of those white marks. And you want to use a gloss medium to decoupage. I've shown you guys my flowers a few times while the gloss medium is completely transparent, which is why the paper looks more transparent. And then you want to go right over your paper right away with your medium when you decoupage. You don't want to let it dry. And so that's what we're going to do right now. I'm just going to use my gloss medium. That's what I have right here on my table. And just as a note, if you're someone who has like chalk paint or clay-based paint on your table and you have a water-based sealer, then you can use that to adhere and to seal your paper. If you're someone who's more likely to have like an acrylic product on your table, you can absolutely use that to both adhere and to seal. If you're someone who maybe you love pint art and you have a pint art product, you guys have multiple choices for different decoupage mediums that you can use, but you just want to choose a gloss. And I'm not using the pint art right now because I don't have the gloss one here near me. So I'm just going to use the acrylic medium and I'm going to use it to both adhere my paper and to seal my paper, right? So I'm going to start off by misting my paper. And you guys know how we talk about isolation layers. We're going to be making an isolation layer today. And so we can talk about that a little bit more. I have too much stuff on my desk. So I've misted my paper and you guys will notice that it's completely transparent, right? I don't have any like white marks on there. So I am going to put my decoupage medium down. And I know someone's thinking, you just put all that pastel ground down. I know, but it's fine. We're going to put a layer on top of our flower. So if I would have been thinking, I would have put well, I didn't know what I was going to do yet. So And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this medium over the entire page, right? Because I want my page to have the same sheen so that it doesn't just look like I just stuck something on the page when we're done. And the 18-pound tissue is pretty strong. It's still wet tissue. I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to manhandle the paper, right? But I am able to reposition it because it is an 18-pound tissue paper. If this were a napkin, right, it would be mush by now. I got a feeling that this is going to be really cool. Okay, so I have that. And before I go over with my pastel ground, do I have any heavy body gel out here? Oh, I hope so. Well, heck. Okay, I'll be right back. Although I don't have to go in the house, I just have to go across the way a little bit. I want to get some heavy body gel because I want to go around the edges of, well, do I care? No, I'm just going to leave it. So sometimes when I'm doing a medallion like this, I'll take some heavy body gel and I'll spackle my edges. And then that way, when I paint it, you can't tell like where the flower ends and where it begins. But we have a lot going on today, so I'm not going to do that. I'll be spending the whole day drying if I did that. So we don't want to do that. I'm not seeing any comments from YouTube. That's weird. Like zero comments from YouTube. I hope I'm streaming like I'm supposed to. And so I'm going to dry this really well. And what I'm going to do, because we're going to be using the pastel ground to color this flower or the pastels, I am going to dry this and go back over the top with the pastel ground. Now, had I known, I probably should have pulled my sticks first and then planned on what I was going to do. Because had I known that this is what I was going to end up doing, I would have just collaged my flower down first or decoupage my flower down first and then gone over the whole thing with my pastel ground. So now I have two coats, which isn't horrible, but you know. And the reason why I'm drying this first is because I don't want to have my flower moving around while I'm putting on my pastel ground. So I'm going to dry this so I can fix it in place. And then I'll go over the top with the pastel ground. And if you guys have any questions at any point, please don't hesitate to ask. If you are new to the channel, my name is Roycycled Bell, owner and operator of Roycycled Treasures. And here at Roycycled Treasures, there is no such thing as a dumb question because you don't know unless you ask. Just shows how strong the papers are. Yeah, the papers really are thick, you guys. This is not regular paper. I know you guys see how I was trying to cut it close, right? As close as possible, because the paper is paper, so it's not going to vanish completely, but it's still pretty transparent. And you're right, Chris. I mean, I could do that on purpose because it looks kind of cool, but we're going to paint over all this, not paint. We're going to go over all this anyways. So this is setting the stage for what's to come. No, I'm kidding. Oh, good. Thank you so much, Lisa. I wasn't seeing any comments from YouTube, so I was worried. Okay. So that's pretty dry. She looks like she's in place really good. So I'm gonna go over this with the pastel grounds. Um, And we're going to dry that, and then we will start the fun stuff. What color should I do on my flower? It has to be a bright color because that was one of our things we picked. I'm going to mist this again. I want my pastel ground to spread easier, so I'm misting it because I don't want it to be really thick. Oscar. And you guys will see whenever I do something, I do it to the entire page, not just to the decoupage paper. And that really does help to blend it in with everything because I end up with a consistent sheen everywhere. I probably could use the pastel ground to spackle my edges a little bit. I don't want to put it on too thick though, because I don't want us to be here with me drawing this page for 5 hours later. But I'm curious. I'll just do the bottom right there and we'll see how that looks. Okay. Let's dry this and then we'll get to the fun stuff. So Casey is asking a question. How is this different from the watercolor ground? So each of the products are gonna perform better under specific like environments, right? So the watercolor ground basically has like cotton in it, I believe. So when you're doing watercolor, what I've learned so far is that the watercolor you use is important, yes, but often the paper you use is even more important than which watercolor you use because the paper is what's going to absorb the color and the pigments a certain way. So the watercolor ground is really meant to maximize how watercolor lies on the surface. And so it has like the particulates in the watercolor ground are cotton, I believe, right? Because that's the best paper you can buy for watercolor is a cotton paper. The particulates in the pastel ground, I don't know what they are, but it's not cotton. It's going to be something a lot more gritty. And the watercolor ground is probably like an 800. Sandpaper, like it's super, super fine, where this is more like a 300 or a 330 grit sandpaper. It's really gritty. You can feel it. And so there's a difference. So like if I had to compare the grounds, um, the gesso is probably like the finest as far as how it feels, and it's the most universal. So if you have clear gesso on your table, and you're just starting and experimenting, I don't want you guys to feel like you have to go out and buy all this stuff. My intention is not to encourage you to go out and buy all the things. It's just to offer you information so that as you guys grow, you guys can make choices that are educated, right? And I'm kind of experimenting for you guys too, right? That's what we're doing together. You guys can see what I'm doing and how it works and does it really make a difference? Ooh, we should do a comparison. I'm going to write that on my list of our experimental videos. We'll actually do a comparison of the mediums to see how they perform with the different products. And that way you guys will know for sure. So the gesso is probably the most universal. And then the watercolor ground. So you can use watercolor. If you have clear or white gesso, you can absolutely use your watercolors over that. And it'll still lay on the page better than it will a smooth page that doesn't have anything on it. So it's kind of like good, better, best, right? The pages are good. You can absolutely work on them as they are. Better is the gesso. The gesso is like a universal ground that you can put over that's going to improve the performance of all of your products. But the individual products are the best option, right? So watercolor ground for watercolor, pastel ground for dry products, but it doesn't mean that you have to have them. It's gonna improve the performance of your products. I hope that answers your question. Oh, good. And if you guys ask me a question and I don't know, I'm going to say, I don't know. I'll find out. But okay. So now I've decoupaged my paper down and I have this ground over the top of it. That's not really, it's not dry. I don't want to rush it and then mess up. So, and I feel like maybe in my effort to not put a lot, I didn't put enough on there. I have a fly in here. He's picking on me, you guys. Let me wet my brush. That way I don't have to use a ton. My flour doesn't feel very rough. So I'm just going to go in and put a thin coat. I did wet my brush first so that I could spread it pretty quickly without having to come in and add more water to this. I'm going to feather that out a little bit because, again, I don't want it to look like I just have something stuck on my page, right? You guys hear that? Probably not. It's like because this stuff is so sandy. Okay. You know what, Lisa? I am sort of. You guys want to see what we did last night? Was everybody here last night to see our project? Um, it's still not dry yet. I rushed those layers way too fast. But let me grab it. Since we're drying anyways, we can talk about that. I'll be right back. While I'm drying this, so last night during our live, we created a faux. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get my mic on. Last night during our live, we created a faux leather finish. So this is the bookish molds from IOD, and we made them with resin and adhered them, and we painted them to look like old leather spines. We decoupaged one side of our magazine box, and then last night we did the other side, and I wanted to emulate like really old leather books, like the antique one that you see. And so we put down some structure page from Pintart, and then we embossed it using stamps. The what is that, Rivery stamp? I wish I would have put my lady. I wish I would have pushed her in a little bit harder, so you could see her a little bit more. And I did go in and I put gold around the edges where we had stamped. But I feel like it does look like an old book, right? So Lisa's asking about a kit for this finish, and I wish it's something that we could do faster. I want to do it, but I don't have a definitive answer for you just yet. Um, Thank you, Casey. It was so fun. Um, Bye, Rajani. Have a good day. Ciao. Um, I know it looks like it's been on there the whole time. Wait until we paint it. I love the pastels on dark colors. They just like pop out to me. And I have watched YouTube videos, although not a lot, not enough to claim to be an expert by any means, but some. And I want this to be dry because I don't want to scratch up the ground or the paper. So I had planned on working on this side because I did this last night. So if you guys are working with your ground, I would let it dry for a few hours before rather than rushing it the way you guys see me doing here live. I just have to rush it because, well, we're only here for a set amount of time. But this side I did last night, and you guys can see I was able to scratch pretty hard, and that ground isn't moving. So I want to take my time and make sure that this side is dry so I get that same result on this side. But yeah, so we're talking about possibility of making a kit so that you guys can make that look easily. And so hopefully that'll happen. We'll see. And that's just one leather look. I've actually been experimenting with making several different kinds of leather because you guys know how it is. With the antique leather, every piece looks completely different. Some look more orange, some look more red, some look just more brown. Um, and then they each have different characteristics where it's embossing or debossing, or maybe there's an image in the leather. And you guys were asking for a class last night, and I was thinking about that. You guys, do you guys think when you're dreaming? Like I can be dead asleep and I'm thinking about stuff while I'm dreaming. It's crazy town. But I was thinking about a class and what it could entail. And so, of course, my brain started spiraling on all kinds of other applications for the leather look. And of course, it's my aesthetic. So I'm excited about being able to put it on all the things. Okay, I think that's dry. I'm going to look on the other side and make sure. And I think next week there's a page I've been eyeballing. Um, where is she? I thought she was on this side. This one. So I was talking earlier about we come and we do like random things. I'm like pulling random sticks and then we create. But some of these pages are actually inspirational in and of themselves. So I would like to take this page next week and actually create something using the page itself. So like you don't always have to just paint over the page and do something else. Some of these pages are meant to be inspiration for you to actually use to create, right? Because there's so many different ones. Look at this one. Like, how beautiful would that be painted? Um, Even this one, I'm like sneaking in art classes, you guys. This one, I think will be super fun. I don't know. Of course, this is a Roycycled decoupage design. So are these, but so you don't always have to just paint over the page. Some of the pages can just be your jump off point for your actual project, right? But I digress. Let me get back to work. Hey, Allison, how are you? How have you been? How are the grandbabies? Okay, so let's get into the fun parts, which is the coloring. I only brought one stack of pastels out. I should have brought all of them. And they come stacked like this. I think there's a softer pink. Ooh, that's a pretty pink, right? So let me see what colors. And they come with these little like applicators, kind of like we used to use back in the day when we used to put eyeshadow on. Do the girlies still use that? They look like they have fancy stuff. And I'm not going to need that black. So we can just put that away. What did I do with my applicator? And so it'll come with like these, and some of them will come with little sponges, but you can buy the applicator separate, which is what I prefer. I know I had it because, and the applicator comes with replaceable sponges. And I don't know what I did with the applicator itself. Oh, here it is. And so to me, this is a lot easier, and the angle makes it easy to use as well. But I kind of want to start with some pencils and then fill in with that. We'll do pink. That's a bright color, right? You guys remember back in the day? Back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. When we used to color and you would outline first. I'm not supposed to do that, but I'm going to because it's my party and I'll do it if I want to. I kind of want to do, usually I do leave my highlights for last, but I feel like I'm not going to know where they are if I leave them for last. And that'll be a good way to outline this flower too. rather than with a line. And so anywhere where I don't see any lines, I'm like coloring it in. And then anywhere where there are lines that indicate that there should be like a darker color there, I'm just going to put a white line, if that makes sense. But that way we can see the outline of the flower. Because I am not a youngster, y'all, and this flower on this black paper is not the most visible. But it is what the challenge called for. So and I am literally, this is like a color by number. And if you guys want, oh, I don't even know if I have it on there. I have a resource that talks about the value shapes on the recycled paintable papers and what they mean. And if you want a copy, you can put hashtag map in the comments, and I will send you guys the link to be able to get that. And I want to talk about that for a minute. The free resources that I have, in order to get them, you're signing up to receive emails from me. And so I had 9 people report me for abuse for sending them like 2 emails over the course of like 3 weeks, which is crazy town. So if you are signing up with anybody, not even with just with me, for a free resource, you're signing up for their email list, which means you're going to receive emails from them. So just know that if you sign up to receive one of my free resources, you're going to get other emails from me too. Which, by the way, I think my emails are valuable. They're usually either encouraging, they're teaching, and sometimes I'm notifying you of opportunities to buy something. Absolutely. But not every email is that. But you guys see how that white is bringing that flower forward? Oh, that's so pretty. And normally when I'm painting, I'll start off with the darks first. But in this instance, because we're working on the dark background, I want to preserve my highlights. And then I have my leaves here also. I want us to get, what time is it? It's already almost 11 o'clock. Poor David, he had a flat tire on Friday, so his car is in the shop. So we are a 1-car household this week. So when he comes home for lunch, I'm gonna have to take him to work. So I have to be done today. I can't just hang out with you guys for a super long time. And as irritated as he was or we were, that he got a flat. I'm really happy that it happened in town because he just drove to a neighboring county. He just drove to Duncan like the day before he got his flat. So, and you guys, when you drive around here, you may be in a dead area because we don't, I mean, we have pretty good Wi-Fi here. I used to complain about it until I like traveled around the country. We actually have pretty good Wi-Fi to be such a small community. It's because we have a local provider. Anyways, I digress. I'm just happy that he didn't get a flat on the way to or from Duncan. It just happened in the Safeway parking lot. So I don't think, do I need to go around the leaves? I don't think I do. My poor cooler. I am almost done. And I feel like this is one of those projects where you can just like zone out and just focus on what you're doing and let your brain like rest from all the worry. Okay. I think that's good. What do you guys think? Like I almost could just leave it like that, huh? But my challenge says I have to use color. So we're going to use some color. Let's start with, where's that really pretty pink? This is the darker pink. What a, how do I lose stuff while I'm just sitting here? I don't even know how I managed to do that. Um, and like I said, I don't know a ton about using this product. So if you guys know something that you can share with the rest of us, please let me know. I just like the way it looks. Like the chalkiness of it is completely different from paint, right? Thank you, Lisa. I do try. Like, I don't want to just be selling to you guys all the time. And usually I have like random thoughts. And then I don't know. If I'm compelled to share them, then I share them. If I feel like they'll bring you guys value. I'm working on an email today. Since you guys are here with me, we can talk about it. But I was thinking about symbolism in our creativity. Like, you guys ever notice that you're drawn to the same things over and over again? Um, like when I was, a lot of you know me for like my steampunkish aesthetic, right? And I was thinking about that because I don't really find myself working with cogs or gears anymore, not in the way that I used to. And I know that for a lot of us, our style changes over time. That's just like part of the process of being creative, right? But I do think that the symbolism that we choose is often a result from of like where we are emotionally or mentally in our lives. And I was thinking about the fact that when I first started this journey, I was the director of a nonprofit, right? So I was responsible for programming to help seniors in our community. And part of that responsibility for me included being a part of other agencies and organizations and being a part of government. And so I used to be on so many boards, y'all. It was kind of ridiculous, um, the number of boards that I served on. And so I was always looking at the community from this perspective of how everything like interlocked and worked together, right? So when you think about a gear or a cog, that's literally what it is. It's just one gear, it's just a part of a larger system of cogs. And so I wonder if the reason why that kept showing up in my creativity was because in that part of my life, that was my pretty much my everyday life was evaluating and, you know, thinking about and creating systems for our community. Whereas now that I'm kind of solo, I mean, I volunteer, I'm on the board for our local chamber of commerce, but that's my only volunteering that I do anymore. I'm not on all the boards like I used to be um, when I was working full time. And so I find that I'm not using cogs as often. And I wonder if it's because it really isn't part of like my my subconscious mind as much as it used to be before. And now though, what I find myself using a lot are butterflies, specifically the monarch butterfly. And so I am kind of in my mind evaluating what that symbolism is, you know, transformation, freedom, you know what I mean? So I'm curious, what do you guys find yourselves like? What imagery do you guys find repeats in your work over and over again? You know, it could be that you're drawn to transfers that have the same thing on them. You know, you like birds. My friend Jane loves birds. Like, is that symbolism for her creativity? And what's the possible meaning, like subconsciously, right? I want to look up I love peonies specifically. Obviously, I'm painting one right now. They are my all-time favorite flower. And I don't even like, not that I dislike flowers, but you know, I'm not like a flowery girl, right? But I love peonies so much. I think they're so beautiful. And I find myself using them over and over again. So I'm gonna look up the meaning of or the potential like meaning of a peonies. So I have these two different pinks. So anywhere where there are a lot of lines, I'm going in with the darker pink. Now, optimally, I could have like a whole bunch of different shades of pink, but I just have the two. So that's what we're working with today. Chaos. That's a sign, Casey. Not a sign, but you guys know what I mean. There's so many conversations that we have like internally that we don't even participate in consciously. Isn't that wild? I'm gonna mix these two. Make me a third pink. I'm trying to go fast, you guys, but It really isn't a fast process. But how fun is this page going to be though? Now, when I get ready to seal this page, I'm going to have to use a spray sealer because if I try to go over it with like a brush, everything is going to move with my brush, right? Chalk pastel question. I have an old stick pastels. Can I shave them to get powder like you're using or just rub a little makeup stick right on it? Ooh, I don't know. Let's see. That is an excellent question. I'm sure the answer is yes. I almost feel like, do I have an emery board out here? Because I've seen artists take, oh, I do have an emery board. I've seen artists take, and I need a lighter pink. So this is an excellent question, Casey. Thank you. See, that's why I like hanging out with y'all. Um, I've seen artists take charcoal and do this. They actually have like a little box. Y'all know I bought one, right? Because I'm ridiculous. They have like a little box that you can buy so that you can collect your shavings. So I have this, right? It's my stick, and this is just a regular, it's not an oil pastel, it's just a pastel. It's in stick form. And let's see if I have a clean applicator. I'm thinking it's going to work the same because that's essentially what this is, right? It's just pastel that's been made into a powder. Um, let's do this one. This one is supposed to be pretty light. So the answer is yes, Casey. I was able to make that a powder and apply it just like I was the pan pastels. So, I mean, if you have regular pastels, right, you can just do that. And where is my applicator? I'm going to keep this one because I'm going to have something for each color. Like if I want this to stay light, I need to keep it, like this, right? That is going to allow me to do some fun stuff though. Thank you. And so I would use the emery board. This one's a little rougher. It's probably like an 8. This is like a really gritty one. So it probably would be better if I use the softer side, I think. But yeah, you absolutely can. And if you look, oh, I don't know what the name of them are, but they're little boxes that you use to do this with charcoal, and the little box collects it. And the little thing on the top is like a little screen. See, now I have another color pink. Thank you. And the cool thing about these is you can build on top of what you've already laid down. So I'm going over all my highlights with this really light pink now, so I don't lose them. Oh my gosh, how fun is this? Okay, so let's use some sticks and some pencils though, so we can, so you see how it looks on the black paper? I don't know, it's just so beautiful. I love this so much. Yes, if you wanted to lighten the value of the pink, you could absolutely add some white. Let's do that. I have some white here. So let's add some, I have some pink here. So you can absolutely mix your colors to make more colors. So if you have a set that doesn't have as many colors as this one does, you can mix them to make your own colors. And you can also mix them on your piece too. So you can see that I have the light pink, but now I have the lighter pink. It's almost white because I mixed that white in there. So let me see. I missed a question. So I have so much stuff out right now, you guys. It's a little ridiculous. Okay. Chalk paste question. Okay, that was a question I answered that. Okay, I'm sorry. So Rachel says that the older she gets, the more she goes to all the things nature, animals, mostly the wild ones. Nice. Like what does that mean, Rachel? Okay, right? Like I have one of my cousin and he loves wolves and he collected wolves like for all of his life. I'm like, what does that mean? Or does it mean anything? I guess that can be a question too, right? And then different brands are gonna have like different levels of pigment, right? Like I feel like this stick pastel is not as pigmented as the pan pastels, but that just may be a brand thing, not necessarily that, all of stick pastels may not have as much pigment as the pan pastel. I hope I'm making sense. But I'm literally coloring by number at this point. Anywhere where I see a lot of darkness, I'm going in with this pink. I'm gonna flip this over because I kind of want to blend this one out a little bit. I may be addicted to a new product, you guys. We'll see what happens. How beautiful is that one? I was able to blend it out a little bit more. Okay, so what else should I do, you guys? So we have our pencil. So what if I want to go in with my pencil to do this part? Because these are really tiny and they require a little bit more control than. And the pastel ground is really scraping the pigment off of this pencil. So I'm able to lay it down really easily. Like I'm not applying a ton of pressure. And then I can use a pencil to color if I wanted to. Let me find something that I haven't colored yet. Let's do, I'm trying to find a lighter one that I haven't. Oh, wait, that's pretty dark though, isn't it? So if I have a tighter area I want to go into, I can use my pencil. And you guys know how sometimes you'll get some colored pencils and you're not happy with the way that they perform? Maybe we're just trying to use them on paper that's just too slick. Like, what if that's the problem? Not the paper, it's not the product itself, but how we're using it. And the cool thing about these lines is that they have direction. So I can follow the directions of the lines too, which I know are also giving form to um, these, like the leaves. And I'm starting out with this lighter one first. And then I'm going to go in with the darker one. Maybe I should save the pencil for the smaller areas because I feel like you can see the pencil marks and that's not lovely. So I don't have a green, but I do have this color. And using this directly on it is like a weird, not weird feeling. It's an interesting feeling. It's like it almost feels like I am coloring on like velvet or something. But once I get it on there, it moves around just like the pan pastel did. Interesting. That's going to be a bit of a learning curve for me. I think I'm going to play with these some more because it's completely different. I don't think I'm supposed to color in the whole thing. Like a lot. Look at that. There's so much that comes off when you go across the surface that you're laying down way more than you need. I wonder if I'm supposed to just put it down a little bit and then like smear it around. I don't know, but I like it. Very interesting. But you can still see the white through it. And whenever you see white, it's all, generally speaking, it's communicating volume, right? So that white is where the leaf is bowing out this way. So that's why we want to keep it because that's what's going to help to inform that it's not just flat on the page. I have some blending tools that I bought for these pastels, but I didn't bring them out because I didn't think I needed them. But I think that because this is so small that I do. But look at how opaque that lays down. Hey, Connie, how are you? You know what, Casey? I don't know about watercolor pencils. We should experiment with that to see if that will help us get like more intense water. Thank you, Chris. Um, Thank you, Connie. This is so fun. I love the pan pastels on the black. That's why I put black in the paper in the book. And this flower is coming out so good. And I also have in this pack, the thing that I have on my applicator right now is like a regular round applicator, but they also have these that are like super pointy. So now that I'm getting to some smaller areas, I'm going to put the pointy one on there. This is like the edge of a flower here, which is weird because it's surrounded by leaves. So I'm going to go in with a really dark. And then we can use our mixture, right? I think I'm going to have these right here kind of disappear into abstraction a little bit. And not be so definitive. That's a leaf right there. I wonder if I can just, that doesn't work as well. So I want some white. And I guess I could use my pencil, but the powder just has a different look. I'm sorry I'm not reading questions a lot today. I'm having way too much fun. And so I kind of want that to go into, so a lot of times, oh, I have to tell myself, hey, how are you doing? How are you guys doing in Colorado? Is it hot over there? A lot of times when you're painting, something like one like a small thing that you can do, or when you're creating, even though this is something that's, it's a decoupage paper, right? But I'm still creating my own composition, even though I'm using a decoupage paper. So you guys can still think about the elements of art when you are creating using the supplies that we use. And so one thing I remember when I first came in, everyone was talking about edges, and I really didn't understand what they were talking about. But sometimes when we are creating, if all of our edges look the same, then we can flatten our projects. If you think about like when you're on a road trip and you're driving by mountain ranges, right? The mountains close to you, you can see all the detail and all the edges look really sharp. You can see everything. But the mountains in the distance look kind of hazy, right? It's hard to, you're not really seeing all the details of the things that are going on far away from you. And so your artwork is kind of the same way in that the things that are closer to you, you can really focus on making them like more sharp and definitive. Like this part up here, I can really work on um, making these edges really sharp. So rather than going in with the powder, maybe I use my pencil to really bring out these highlights. I wish I had more colors and to really make my edges super sharp. But my edges here in the back, I'm going to leave those kind of fuzzy because they're further away. And so that's going to help to make my whole project to not look like flat. It's going to have more dimension. And I could probably go on coloring this for hours because I can keep layering over the top. And the thing is, once you establish like your values, like where is it light and where is it dark, once you establish those shapes, you can just keep going over them, right? And just adding more pigment. I do know that I'm going to want to go over some of these white areas and brighten them up just so this can pop a little bit more. But I think that it is 11:30. So I have to run away. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today. That was so fun. Like even if I only colored my flower and I left the rest of the page black, I think that would be beautiful. I would probably go over the background. Let me do one thing before I leave. My poor husband, he's probably like, where is this woman? And I would do this last. And one of the things you can do is sometimes when you're working with pastels, because they will pick back up, you can put a little piece of paper or something down so that, like, I'm going to be working on this edge and I don't want to put my hand over that. So this paper is going to help me to keep me from doing that. But I could go in with a little bit of black just to help get rid of kind of that chalkiness from the ground. And I can still see what's in the background. And it's also going to help me get rid of that kind of a halo, although Chris likes the halo around the flower. So up here, you can see the paper. I'm going to go in and go over that paper. Let me put a new tip on this. And I'm going to blend that out really quickly before we go. And so I feel like this product can be so much fun. And so I was talking earlier when we started about how I bought these pastels probably 6 or 7 years ago after I saw somebody use them, Liz from Afton's art studio on an IOD live. And I went out and I bought some and I'm barely using them. So if you have art supplies that you've purchased and you haven't used them yet, your art journal is a wonderful place to experiment and to get to know those supplies. And I'm just picking up some pigment from here and I'm putting it over here because I think I laid down too much. These sticks are like really, because we have that pastel ground, they come off a lot on the paper. So like a little bit goes a long way, I guess is what I'm saying. I kind of want to, oh, this leaf is green. So I can just use a little bit to get rid of that chalkiness. But then when I go into the flower where I want to get rid of that paper, the white of the paper, then I can use a little bit more. And I want to show you guys, I want to go down here a little bit more because I have color down here so you can actually see it. I'm thinking for this, where did my big old sponge go? Oh, Lord, I forgot to plug up my battery. Okay. I'm thinking that a sponge like this is probably better for like larger areas. But I wanted to show you guys the difference. So this is where I went over it with a little bit of pastel, and then this isn't. So you can see how, like, it doesn't look ashy over here. And it doesn't look ashy here, but it looks ashy here. So once you get your ground down, you can just layer all your colors. I don't want to stop, but I have to. I'm sad because I have to stop. I am genuinely sad because I want to finish this, but I need to get my husband to work so that I can have a car with a car seat because we have the grand today. But I am hoping that you guys enjoyed today's spread, not really the spread, but the page though, right? Like how fun are these products? And so if you have, and these are not oil pastels, these are soft pastels, right? If you have pan pastels, soft pastels, even colored pencil, you might find that you get more vibrant results if you lay down a pastel ground yet. And so we're talking about specifically about prepping your Roycycled Journal pages. But of course, you guys know that these products work anywhere, right? It doesn't have to be in the journal. But that's all I have today, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. This was genuinely fun. Like, I want to do these leaves because I know they're going to pop against that black background so much. And hopefully I inspired you guys to play. And if you have products like the ones I've shared today, maybe the ingredient that you've been missing is the pastel ground to really help you take advantage. Where's my black pastel? I'm wanting to be doing that while I'm talking. So if you want to take advantage of the opportunity to play, then pull your supplies out. And your journal is a really beautiful place to do that. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's demonstration or today's laboratory. Um, Remember that where creativity goes, where experimentation goes, creativity follows. You don't have to know all the things before you start. You can just start and play and see what happens. And honestly, I find that sometimes I'll have people who are from the art journal world that'll wander onto my page, say something like, I've never seen it done that way before. And you know why? Because I don't know what I'm doing, right? I don't know the rules to follow. And so I'm just experimenting, which means I get to create things that maybe aren't being done yet. And how exciting is that? So please make time in your practice to experiment, to play, and just to see what happens. You guys have a blessed day. And I hope you guys will join us next Sunday for Chatting Crafting with Royce and Dave. And have a good day. Bye.